Dan has been on a mission trying to find a daily for me.
I gotta fix this today, otherwise Renee doesn't have a daily.
Good morning.
Morning. We're on a journey going deeper south into Florida right now.
And to the other side, and it's early. But it's exciting because for the past couple months, when we even had the idea of moving to Florida, Dan has been on a mission trying to find a daily for me. And now that we're out here,
But it can't just be any basic daily.
of course.
We're looking for a Toyota Hilux Surf.
Turn left onto Northeast.
Not a surprise anymore.
I guess not.
We kind of like third gen 4Runners, that era of late 90s, early 2000 cars that we like. But this way we can get a diesel version, so we're going to look at one right now. And then we can do a couple things to it, so then Renee won't have to drive her Supra because it rains here a lot at certain times of the year.
Yeah.
We really don't want to ruin her Supra, so it'll have to just wait for the right time of year.
It'll be much better. So a few things we were considering was, we like Tacomas, but they're so expensive and
But
it's hard to find a really good one.
So we like Tacomas and 4Runners, both of them. We don't like the brand new ones because it's barely even a Toyota anymore. Like up to 2004 Tacomas and up to 2002 Toyotas or 4Runners. They all have 200,000 miles, and then when you find one that has 100,000 miles, it's always green. Literally every one of them will be green, and I'm because we want a silver or black or a white, just
and I only wrap drift cars. If you're gonna buy a Toyota, you want to have
the real paint, yeah. Then we were oh, what about the import? You don't really love right-hand drive, but you'll get used to it, and then diesel makes it that much cooler. It would be really cool if we could get a Hilux, but they're not importing those really. And I don't think Japan had tons of trucks. It was more you would get a Hilux from Australia or Mexico, or another country. Maybe later we could get a real Hilux. So Hilux Surf, which is the exact same thing as a 4Runner.
Which is confusing to me.
Why?
It just is. It's just because it's imported and it's right-hand, which makes it a Hilux.
No.
Or it's a Hilux.
Hilux is
in a
the
different
Tacoma
country.
in another country, and a Hilux Surf is the 4Runner in a different
I just
country.
knew that I wanted a 4Runner. And then the whole Hilux Surf thing, I think this is the third time I've had to ask you about it. It's not setting in my mind
That
quite
means
yet.
4Runner. Hilux
Yeah.
Surf means 4Runner.
We were even considering a Jeep, different things, and going more kind of really off-road, and we were wait a second, what's the point of this? This needs to be a daily. Yeah, so we're really excited about it. Hopefully this is the right one. You found a couple that you would come across,
But
and then
this
they
is
would
the
go
first one
immediately.
This was the first one where that.
The
Because they have
interior's
weird
good,
interior
yeah.
colors half the time. So we're gonna go check it out. It looks pretty good. Can't guarantee it.
Yeah, find out. Take you guys with us. New Florida life.
All right, Renee.
I'm the new proud owner.
Are we ready to show them?
Yes.
Okay, you show them.
Check it out, you guys. Keeping it in the 90s. The best. I get to be right-hand drive now. It's pretty cool. It's very JDM. Here, I'll show you the interior. It's pretty clean. I'm happy that it's the gray and not that tan. Would have still wanted it without that, but been wanting a 4Runner for a while, so this is pretty cool. I don't know all the technical things about it like Dan would as far as it being diesel and all of that, but we're happy with it. I like the color. It's clean.
No, it's mostly maintenance stuff.
All right, guys, so this looks really amazing from the outside. It is a 96, so it's gonna have its little blemishes. It's a 26-year-old car. Let's open the hood, show you inline 4 turbo diesel. I'm excited about this little engine. Oh, if you guys noticed, it's a little bit hot out and I'm sweating. So check it out, it doesn't even have an intercooler, but it's got a little baby turbo. Airbox crosses up and over. I already have a lot of plans, and I'm sure Treadstone has an intercooler that's gonna be a cool little front mount that I could fab up some piping for. We would just need an elbow that bolts to that, or I'd have to modify that. But what I wanna do is have Renee drive it home, figure out what its little quirks are, because it's an old car, like I was saying. It's gonna have some issues. Got that cool Hilux Surf little front bumper. You can see it's a little bit tweaked, so probably have to bend that bar a little bit somehow to level it back out. Maybe leave that because it's kind of cool looking. Then what do you guys think if we got some Volk, the TE37 style truck wheels, bigger tires, look good, I think. Overall paint, I'd say is like an 8 out of 10. There is surface rust on the frame. Minimal stuff that's issues with it, like has issues, but it's got the flares and the paint's pretty good overall. It looks like the limited style. If it was a US car, the bolsters is pretty nice. Pretty simple. It does have this weird DVD player and it's got a turbo timer that we'll have to figure out how to remove. But this guy, Jamie over here, he sells these Hilux Surfs.
How's it going?
If you guys are in Florida or want to come down to Florida and meet Jamie, he could probably import you guys a Toyota or a 90s vehicle that you would want. He had said he even did like a JZX 100 at one point, like other stuff.
The 2 JZX 90s, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe he's the guy for you. He was the guy for Renee and I, so now Renee has her Hilux Surf, and so we're gonna start doing a couple things to it. Show you guys more, we're gonna drive home with it now. What's up, guys? Okay, it's like 95, plus I don't have fans in the shop yet, so just don't worry about it, it's hot. Leave me alone. Renee and I are here, we're with the Hilux. Let's focus on the car. Don't worry that my shirt's off and it's hot. Got some stuff taken apart. I'm kind of like just digging into this to do like very basic maintenance, which would be air filter, which sits here, right there. Oil filter, fuel filter. So we got 3 filters. I guess they're all right within 1.5 feet of each other. So I took the air box out because I'm about to pull this out. I took these 2 nuts off, so this can remove, but I'm gonna undo these hoses, pull that out, and swap the filter out. Because you know how you do or don't know on a diesel, on the bottom of the fuel filter, it has the water separator down there, a little sensor that's gonna tell you if you're getting like a lot of water in your diesel, and it'll alert you. So that's what that little sensor is. But it looks like the past person has like never unhooked it right here on this clip.
Uh-oh. Dan's favorite.
It's all spun up there.
When someone's messed with a car.
And hasn't done it like the proper way, it just irritates me. So I'm gonna take this out, like undo this clip from the chassis. There's like a, you know, the little like sprung pieces of plastic. If you guys work on cars, you know what I'm talking about. You gotta use a flat head to unhook it. So I'll do that. I'll remove this. I'll undo these lines right here with one of the gear wrench 45 degree, the double X ones, these on these extended needle nose, and I'll do that on the bench so it's like just I can have a good look at it. Got sidetracked. So as you guys can see, there's a little bit of like oil spilling off where the valve cover gasket would be, but then as I did a bunch more research on these, it's a 1KZ-TE, which is the 3-liter 4-cylinder diesel. There's like not a lot of issues, but there's some issues, and I just want to do preventative maintenance. This one doesn't have any issues because we were pretty picky about looking through stuff. Well, we think it has no issues. Always could have issues. One is if it's drinking coolant, so I've been keeping a close eye on that because they're known to crack heads due to the EGR overheating, like any diesel.
You saw some stuff dripping below. You're not sure.
I saw some coolant drip below, but I filled it when we got it. It was a tiny bit low from the dude. He didn't really maintenance anything. He just imported it, sold it to us. Possibly he did more than telling us. But then, so what I did was fill up this is like your recovery tank here. So when it gets hot, it'll spit out, it'll pull back in, vice versa. I put this to the F mark, and then we left on a FD round, came back, and it had lost some, which doesn't make any sense. It just spilled out on the floor, like right here, because we left it here in the shop. And then I think something's like leaking, like, because there's no reason that it would leak out. It's not like consuming it in the engine, so it's leaking somewhere. So I'm gonna find that leak. Obviously, it's an older truck, you know, with lots of little issues that probably haven't been addressed, but I'll try and address them, and I was gonna cover that with you guys, and Renee's gonna help. But today we're just doing basic stuff because I bet the oil hasn't been changed in, you never know, like 10,000 miles, maybe way less than that, but I just need to know for myself. We're doing that. The filter that I tried to get wasn't correct, so as you can see, I have that union removed. So I'm gonna just push this car out of the way and then drive another car.
Quick recap.
Oh yeah.
I guess probably what maybe some people are interested in, these parts that you're getting, I only know because he was sounding frustrated on the computer. Are these parts that you thought were gonna be on just a like American 4Runner, or it's different because it's diesel?
No, I knew it would be really a quite a pain in
So
the
these
ass
are
to find.
different things you're coming across.
They're gonna be the same as a US part, but you can't like go in and say, what is the, I mean, if you could speak other languages, you could like go on different websites in foreign countries, but you can't just be like, hey Toyota, let me have the 96 Hilux Surf filters, and they'll be like, huh? You have to find, like, in this case, Napa had this one. We figured that out relatively easy off of this Denso part number on here.
So this is a Napa 3138.
Yeah, which that one turned out to be easy. We did the same on this one and it came up wrong, and the reason I have that union out, because that has like, I believe it's a M24 thread pitch, and we got a filter that had a 3/4 16 thread pitch, and it's M2415. So now I gotta go back with that union that I was talking about to AutoZone, or no, I'll just go to Napa because it's the closest one, and then until I find a filter that threads onto it.
So a little bit of like conversions taking place.
Once we figure it out though, then we'll go straight to K&N oil filter and air filter, which I found the air filter. We're sponsored with K&N and AEM, which is the same company, so we'll get those. We'll show you guys when we do that, but for this one I just need it to be up and running.
Just wanted to show you guys like the basic stuff that's not always maybe the most exciting, but kind of like the condition of what you see this in, and you're gonna see like a couple more exciting things taking place.
Yeah.
We got
something coming.
Yes.
We got some rims coming. So these are pretty beat.
We have them. You guys just don't get to see them yet.
Well, okay,
It'll give you something to look forward to.
We have them. They're in a box still. We opened one of them. We're gonna get some GT tires and we're gonna make this thing look just proper, you know, how it should. And then we're gonna do little upgrades to it. So maybe like, I'm thinking like a snorkel because it would just look cool. Doesn't really need that, but
not sure if there's very many like Hilux people watching this quite yet, but let us know.
It's 90s Toyotas.
All right,
come on.
We got to do this video right. So let us know if there's anything specific that you guys are wondering about that maybe Dan might like come across or figure out, and we can share different things, so comment below.
Okay, and also really quick, this is like one of the earlier models of the 1KZ TE. The later models of it had a top mount intercooler right here. This is just the intake pipe just for air to go in. This is like the charge pipe for intercooler. Let's say we go with a snorkel, we might still have to use this crossover, but I could make my own like aluminum tubing going over and then get it powder coated, because then that would just be like the intake pipe basically. This is your charge pipe that would go to your intercooler, which hopefully I can find an elbow or I'll modify this and weld to it. I'm sure we could fit like a little 3-inch treadstone intercooler down in front there and do some intercooler piping. There's future cool things that we could do to this, but first we're gonna do the maintenance and double check like the head's okay, and glow plugs probably haven't been changed, so we probably gotta swap those and check the injectors, things like that. I'm gonna finish this and then we'll update you guys soon with parts and cool stuff.
See you guys in a little bit.
See you later. Bad news, guys. Okay, we've been getting a leak out of the Hilux. Had me worried at first, like head gasket, cracked radiator, etc., because it's a leak that is coolant. Ugh, check that out. So, not gonna get up in there with you guys, but let me hold the camera. So, oh my gosh. Yeah, that's bad for the camera. See that, guys? There's some hard lines under there. This is for your heater core. They Y off here, in and out, and it goes to a second heater core. Is underneath driver's seat. It's down in here. See that hump in there? There's a second heater core in there and a little fan and everything, and that will go to the passengers. That's for the heat, but then you can also have the vents for the cooling for the back seat people. So anyways, we're getting a little leak. I'm not like seeing it until this morning. Renee parks the car and I see a leak. What I've been doing is just keeping an eye on this and this and adding not even a lot. Like, she doesn't drive very far, but I added probably like 2 cups of water and then maybe like 1 cup of Toyota Red. You can see it's nice and red. Today I see like a nice puddle, like 10 square inch paper plate size circle, and I'm like, uh-oh, okay, drive it in here, get under there to look at it, it's just dripping, and then I touch the hard line and I like go to like feel it and it just rips in half. dumps everywhere, gets on my face, and I was laying on that. It's kind of hot, so I had my shirt off. Don't worry about that, guys. The question would be, how do we fix that? So if we fix it exactly proper, so everything's exactly how it was, you would need Toyota hardlines from a right-hand drive Hilux from 96. Not gonna be able to get those. I could either make my own hard lines, which I'd first need to figure out what metric sizing that was, order that, bend it all, and get it in place, which would probably be ideal for the situation because it's really close to the exhaust. You could make soft lines, but if you do that, you're gonna have to sheathe them with some like fire sleeving from PTP turbo blankets or something, which we could do. Or we could buy hard line and bend our own hard line, which I probably have some hard line, so I'm gonna start digging through boxes and find some stuff. Gotta mop this, check that out, it's running. I'm gonna get to that when I figure out what my plan is. Turn the camera back on and I'll show you guys. Cause I gotta fix this today, otherwise Renee doesn't have a daily. Pretty annoying, but get to know the Hilux, the 1KZ TE, I believe. Get to know that a little bit more. 1KZ TE, I was right. Okay, I gotta get set up here and I'll let you guys know what I do to fix this. After a lot of mopping, exploring underneath the car, seeing how rusted those lines are and how many different bends are in the lines, I went and looked up. It's metric tubing, but 3/8 would work, and I can find some 3/8 stainless tubing. Not cheap at all, so I don't think I want to buy that. It was $320 on McMaster-Carr for a roll of 25 feet, which I don't think I'm ready to spend that on this for the rear heater. And as you guys can see, it's pretty hot here, so I don't think we need a rear heater in the back of this car. The vents in the back, they're pretty blocked. The vents are literally under the seat, and then one vent comes out like the side of this console thing down here where my hand is, if you guys can see that. We have a dog that has a lot of fur, doesn't really need to be cold at any point in the near future. So what I'm gonna do, I pulled these off. I'm gonna put a cap on both of these. I'm gonna use these HPS, I don't know if you guys have seen these. These are really great, these HPS coolant caps. This is a 1/4 inch one. Most likely this is again metric, but we're just not in a metric world here in America, so 1/4 inch is tight, so that'll be good. Yeah, that was not easy to put on, so it's not gonna be easy for it to come off. And then we'll get a hose clamp. I'll see if I can repurpose this OEM hose clamp here, and we'll shove that on there. Let's see if I can do it while filming. What we're gonna do is just bypass that, and we won't have, come on. We're not gonna have coolant going to the back. We're just gonna have normal heater core, which most cars don't have a secondary heater core, so I think we're gonna be okay. All right, well, I'm gonna get this hose clamp on, and then I'm gonna put a second one of these 1/4 inch coolant caps on the other one there. Then I'm gonna refill this up. We're gonna start it, bleed the system, make sure everything works, and then we won't have a coolant leak anymore. And the cool thing is, now I know we don't have a blown head gasket or a cracked head, because these engines are known for cracking the head, blowing the head gasket, things like that. Other thing they're known for is freeze plugs will break after 100,000 kilometers and the tip will fall inside, bounce around, sometimes leave the motor without hurting it, sometimes, you know, make it not seal good on one cylinder because it smacks the valve as, you know, the motor's running. So I'm gonna look for, I can't find them in stock anywhere right now. I just need to get new glow plugs, do that, new injectors, swap them out, send the other ones back to get cleaned, or just throw them away, get brand new OEM Toyota ones. Haven't been able to find those online. So if you guys know where I can buy them in stock, let's say in Australia or in the UK, because that would be the two easiest places, because I can read their website when I'm on their website, let me know and I'll buy them from there, maybe New Zealand also. All right, well, I'm gonna get back to this and then I'll show you guys after I've bled the coolant and we're up and running. We're all set up. Check this out. I use these gear wrench 45-degree XX needle nose. Put those two HPS coolant caps on. I'm just gonna leave these sitting here. Eventually I'm gonna fix it correctly. I just don't wanna spend $300 on that right now when I know there's more to come, because it's a new used vehicle to me. And used vehicles that are old, that sat a lot, they always have problems. What we did is fix that. I've been adding a little bit of coolant and water to it, so let's finish filling this up. I got some Toyota Red here that I've mixed with a little bit of water. So I'm gonna try and top this off here, and then we're gonna start it and let it bleed itself. I do have another one of those tools that'll like suck water out of a bucket and fill it up, but this car I don't think is gonna have a bleeding problem. Maybe it will, we'll find out. JZs are very prone to needing to have help bleeding them, so I typically use that on a JZ, but I'm gonna have to find that and unpack it because I'm not fully set up yet and I didn't feel like doing that, so I just went for this guy here. So we're gonna fire this up now because it looks like it's full, but it's probably not. It's gonna take a little bit more. We'll see if we have a leak underneath. We'll see if we don't. I don't know. Cool thing about this is hardly need to wait for the glow plugs. I don't know if you guys saw it lit up there, only about a second. I typically wait a little longer though. I saw that oil light and I was like, wait a minute, but it went off. I don't really drive this car, Renee does, so I don't know the light sequence like that. That's why I stayed in there for a second. Let's see if we can get it to bleed some of this off. If not, I'll take this and I'll just dump it in here because this is empty now. But I have a feeling some of this will get sucked in the motor because it pretty much dumped everything out on the ground for me. That's a cool little 4-cylinder, huh? 3-liter 4-cylinder. Nice and rattly, just like all turbo diesels are. You guys don't want to wait this long, but I'm going to bleed this out and then top off the expansion tank or recovery tank over here. Probably go drive it around a little bit. I'll bring you guys when we drive it around. All right guys, so we bled the system and then I pulled the hard lines out and I took them outside. Let me show you. Here's where the leak was coming from, where this just corroded through to nothing. And when I kind of pushed on it, it just collapsed and fell apart. So my goal here is to kind of just build my own version of this, rebend some hard line so that it can work. Probably won't look quite as perfectly bent as this. It'll be just able to use these brackets, bolt into the same spot, and I might get new hoses that are HPS silicone hoses instead of those. That's it. So now we're gonna go do a test drive. You guys get to ride along in there. Everything's working good. Got the little tiny baby turbo whistle sound going. All right, no leaks, everything's good. We're gonna take it back. Renee's good to go for a little while. Eventually I'll fix it correctly though, because right now we've just bypassed that and we wanna make it all back to normal. All right, that was it for today on the Hilux. Soon we're gonna do some upgrades though, soon.